What's up, guys, and welcome back to SC Ayala Talk. This is your host, SC Ayala, and we're on a journey through the book Lovesick, Pages of a Poetic Heart with yours truly, SC Ayala. Tonight we'll be going over page 68, so if you have the book and you want to read along, then that's fine. If not, just here to listen, that's fine too. Without further ado, let's begin. So, just to recap, we've kind of been through some of the pages already. There's been a lot of heartfelt poetry and backstories, and basically, just sharing where the inspiration came from. And some of it's a little deeper than others, and some is a little more lighthearted than others, and some are just downright brutal and the truth about something that transpired in my life or in someone else's life that I chose to write about. But again, so we'll be going over page 68. The title is You Are, and this one is all love. So without further ado, here we go. You are. You are the sun that brightens my day. You are the clouds that make my dreams seem real on a clear blue sky day. You are the rain that can wash all my troubles away on a sad and lonely day. You are the roses in my life that promise you'll always love me. You are the earth at my feet that reminds me you'll always be here, so I shouldn't fear. You are the ocean with its many tales, big and tall, constant reminder that you won't always be small. You are the added breaths that I breathe and the new visions that I see. You are my hopes and my dreams, my daughter and my friend, and you are loved without any end. So that was You Are, Naomi Ashante. Shout out to my first daughter. Backstory to that. So, what could I really say other than, this is about my firstborn little girl, and I don't think I was ever prepared, being a young mom, a young married mom, and she was just a bundle of joy. But I was so ill prepared for a girl. I had already had two boys, and boys just it's a whole nother area. I can give my boys, and I've always said it, I can give my boys, a couple of cars and some dirt, and it'd be a play day for hours. Once my daughter came, she inspired so much that I couldn't help but want to write. I couldn't help but want to heal. And a lot of times people have kids and they don't realize that, when you're really young and you're trying to heal yourself from things, and you become a parent, or a wife, or, there's not a whole lot of time to do the healing and, the work and whatnot. And you really, if you don't have a balance on life, which I don't really believe I did, I just kind of said my feelings don't matter, and what I'm feeling just kind of goes to the back burner. I have someone else that's looking up to me, and I need to put my best foot forward, period. And you need to be very careful when doing that, because a lot of whatever trauma you had from your childhood can ultimately be seen in how you're raising yours. And I think a lot of times for me, my little girl was such an inspiration to be a better person and to want more and better for her, that she just inspired the good in me. She brought out the good in me. She was always a joy. She was always doing something funny. She was very loving. I just knew that she was going to be the reason that I just said, you know what, whatever bad I might have done in my past, or whatever I might have said, or whatever I thought I was going to do, I didn't do. everything changed when she was born. You know, I think sometimes having sons, because they're boys, you know, you're raising men, essentially, you know, you're raising men. And I think it's easier. You know, you can get away with doing some things, and, you know, boys don't look at you as harshly, you know, not to say that they're not watching, because they watch everything you do. Kids are just that way. They're little sponges. But I think when you have a little girl, you're just a little more careful, you know. I know, at least for myself, that's kind of how it was, you know. I didn't want to swear, you know. I didn't want to watch bad things. I didn't even want to watch scary things. I mean, for her, it was all princess, all pink, you know, all baby dolls all day long. You know, Barbies were essential, you know, Barbie houses and cars. And, you know, you want to give your daughter the princess package. And you want to give your little girl pretty much everything that you didn't have, or that you thought you should have had and maybe didn't, you know. My dad did pretty good, and, you know, my mom, the same thing. My mom dressed me like a little Barbie dolls, you know, little baby dolls, you know, frilly dresses, frilly socks, you know, the whole nine. And my dad, being, you know, a very doting, loving father, he, you know, Christmas was like, you know, you got the Barbies, the Barbie van, the Barbie house, you know, it's just, there was Barbies on end. And, you know, shout out to Barbie. Let me just say that she had everything, and my dad tried to make sure I had it too. So, and when I had my own, it just inspired me to do the same thing. You know, anything that I just felt was good, I wanted to make sure she had, you know. And my family, I think, when we had her, because she's the first granddaughter, I don't think anybody realized how spoiled she was really going to be. You would have thought that girl walked on water, being that nobody ever let her just walk, you know. And she was just a treat. She was a real treat just to have. And her brothers, you know, like I said, I had two before, you know, she came. And she was really just a fun baby. And even now in her adult life, you know, because she's all grown, has her own, she's still inspirational. She's still that good seed. And a lot of times I think, you know, wow, I had something to do with that. You know, I know everybody's an individual, and we all learn not just from our parents, but, you know, friends, family, people we interact with. You know, you go to school, you meet a good friend, you know, maybe their mom and dad been together for 40 years or something, you know, and you spend a lot of time with that family too. And, you know, you pick up on things, you know, outside of your own home. And I think a lot of times I'm just grateful that she grew up to be decent. You know, I always taught my kids to ask themselves, you know, she'd come running home with good grades, and Mom, I got an A, and Mom, I got this, and Mom, I got that, and I did this. And I would stop her right in her tracks, and I would ask her, but who did you help today? And sometimes, I mean, the look of disappointment, like, lady, I'm showing you like my straight A's, you know, like, what the heck? But she quickly learned, oh, there's more to life than my achievements. You know, there's decency, there's helping others, there's being kind to those who no one is being kind to at school, or there's, you know, offering a second pudding that Mom put in your package to a kid that might be new, or a child that might not have, and just sharing, you know, and looking out for the other. And to this day, she still has, you know, that in her heart, and she does the toy drive, you know, during the Christmas season to make sure that, you know, underprivileged kids, you know, still get some kind of a gift and whatnot, you know. So I like to think that the little things that I did, actually helped in her adult life. And even with her own child, it's such a joy to see the strength and the beauty that she has, not just as a mom or even as just my kid, but as a person, as an individual, with her own child even. And I couldn't be prouder, she really has been, like the poem says, she really has been just a new vision, a new hope of what the future, may have, just in our own little family, She's always been very intelligent, and she's always made an impact in my life and those around her. And I was just so inspired, from the day that she was born. Not to mention, she's a rainbow baby. So, but that's for another day and another segment. But that is the backstory to You Are Naomi Ashante, page 68. And I just want to say thank you again from SC Ayala for SC Ayala Talk. Until next time, please like, subscribe, and don't forget to hit the notifications. And we'll see you then.